author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Lost Coach, Robert Ferguson!
Whoa! Unbelievable. How's everybody doing today? This is Robert Ferguson. I am your nutritionist. I'm a guy who shares because he cares. And today on this Fat Loss Friday, as we record it live, I'm going to share some really cool things with you. And when I say things, I'm gonna take you inside of a few of my clients and share with you things that they like about the diet-free life methodology. Not only can you lose weight, of course, or improve your health, but I want you to understand that you can get to a certain weight, right? So things are possible. And you know what? It'll be way simpler than you realize. Now, saying all of this, I can also share with you that I am working on a few things that'll be available to all of my clients next week, because they get asked all the time, how did you lose that weight? How did you get off that blood pressure medication? How did you get off those statins? How did you get your life back? And in the words of one of my clients, Alice, she said, Robert, I feel like I have reversed the clock. And so the doctors, the endocrinologists, the internalists, the friends, the family members, they keep asking, how did you do it? And one of the biggest challenges with what we do is being able to explain it in a way where the average person will go, that makes sense. And more than it just making sense, they will say, how can I get started? What do I need to do to get off of the meds that I'm on? What do I need to do to lose the weight that I've watched you lose? What do I need to do to live my best and healthiest life? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, before I dive in and share with you the simplicity of how these people did it, I want to give a big shout out to my friend and client, Mr. Brett. I call him Brett Sweat because we used to sing karaoke and do some key sweat back in the day. But Brett, at his top weight, he was well over 300 pounds. And this morning, he sends me a text message, and it's a copy of his phone. I was going to share it. Didn't have time to get it where I could upload it and share it with you, but it said 199 pounds. Now, when you wake up and you're 337 pounds, that's not a good feeling. Many people right now are waking up at whatever weight you're at, and you're like, man, I got to do something about this. And unfortunately, many of us will not do anything about it. We'll just go through the day and just kind of keep it moving. And what happens is time goes by really fast. As I saw this beautiful photo of my daughter, who's almost 16 years old, I'm like, oh my God, she was just a baby. It felt like yesterday. I was shooting my first infomercial. I remember having Kathy, who was watching her, and Kathy at the time had dropped about 240 pounds. And everything was just going great. And I got this new baby, and I know there's going to be another one coming, and woo! Boy, time goes by fast. And so for some of you who are on the fence and you're like, you know what? I know I got to do something. I need to do something. Maybe I used to work with Robert, or maybe I work with another coach, or you can always come back. I get clients who are new, who used to be my client. And, life gets in the way. I get it. And when they come back, I'm always going to welcome you with open arms, even the ones I've fired over time, because when I fired them, maybe they were just at a place where life was just not going well. They were frustrated. I mean, who knows? I'm not one to hold a grudge toward anybody. I'm not perfect, because there are some people that I definitely don't like in this world. And I pray and I'm asking God to change my heart, to put me in a better place, so that those few people that walk on this earth, I don't want to have those feelings. I really don't. because I know it's not a good thing. It doesn't help anybody. So I'm definitely a big believer in promoting love. But with Brett Sweat here, I just want to give you a big shout out, Brett. And everything that we're going to be talking about today is brought to you by our Detox Drop. You can find out more about the Detox Drop, our 8-week fat loss challenge. You can also learn how you can become a client by emailing my assistant. And if you're interested in a side gig or a real gig where you can become a coach, you can email and ask Lori about that as well, and we will get back to you. Okay, now let's go back to Brett. Big celebration. Doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo. Okay, I'm not the best singer in the world, but hey, I'm just letting you know. I'm excited about it. Okay, so let me just share with you some of the things that Brett has shared with me that may help you realize that you're in a position where you can win. Okay, so Brett, when I talked to him, and he has a testimony he's going to give us, but Brett, when he weighed in at 337 pounds, Brett knew of me. We've known each other for many years. And sometimes the people who have the biggest challenge at reaching out are the one who already know you, right? It's kind of like helping your family members. But Brett, looked at me as a big brother for years. And when he reached out, we got him going. And he had stalled for a while. And, he sees me on Facebook. He reached out and we kept it moving. And we actually documented it. So I interviewed Brett when he decided to move forward and to finally get to where he is now. And there's a video of it. So I need to do an update with Brett because he's under 200 pounds and that's a big deal. But one of the things that Brett shared with me that I would share with you is that he likes to eat and he doesn't want to be like on some crazy diet where you can't eat and you're restricted. And he likes to break bread with his mom. They have each other. They love each other. We're all getting older. And so one of the things I pick up from Brett is that I want to be able to eat regular everyday food. I want, Thai food if I want. I want pasta if I want. And this is something that makes sense. I just needed the structure. And then he allowed me to coaching. And I've eaten pad Thai with Brett. I mean, a lot of it. We've had what we call boost meals. And Brett consistently dropped the pounds. And today at 199, I'm taking a moment to say, congratulations, Mr. Brett Sweat Hilton. Woo! Okay. Now, Brett is the focus of our conversation today. He really is. But I just want to answer any questions that you may have. And if you have questions, bring them my way. It's Fat Loss Friday. So whenever I do a Fat Loss Friday, if people have questions, I'm there to answer questions. But at the same time, I'm going to share with you a few testimonials. Recently, Linda, who I highlighted and gave her a big shout out when she hit 100 pounds, is now down 110 pounds. Now, one of the things about Linda that I would highlight is that she's off like all the meds that she was on. And the amount of meds, like how much it was costing her, even with a copay, was probably 3 to 4 times more financially than what it cost for her to have me as her coach. So she's basically getting me as her coach for free. And she's saving even more money because she made a decision to do something about her situation. And I don't know if you've ever picked up, 40 pounds of dog food or cat food or 20 pounds of a potato, but to have 110 pounds off your body, oh my goodness. Now, when you lose that much weight, and Linda, I hope you catch this because this is a tip and a recommendation for you as well as for everyone else. Women, as you're maturing and the leaner you get, the more you want to partake in resistance training. The reason being is if you don't, you're no longer carrying around all that weight. So your bone density is going to decline and your skeletal muscle is going to decline. And then you're more likely to experience osteoporosis. See, a woman who's walking around at 250 pounds is not going to have osteoporosis. Very unlikely because she's carrying around a lot of weight. When she stands up off the sofa, she's like squatting all that weight. It's like 150 pounds of weight, right? Or like if you look at, Linda, when she was 249, now she's 139. Well, if you take off, that's 110 pounds that she's no longer having to squat down with when she sits and stand up with that extra weight. And when she's walking, it's kind of like walking around holding dumbbells or a weighted jacket. You're no longer doing that. You're going to start to lose more muscle and more bone. And so the only way to prevent that loss is to make sure you're eating properly, with a specific focus on making sure you get adequate amount of protein throughout the day, and make sure that you partake in resistance training. If you don't want osteoporosis and you're over the age of 50, you want to make sure you're eating right, and you are going to integrate resistance training into your life. Like, everyone would benefit from resistance training, everyone. But if you don't want osteoporosis, then I just gave you the solution. Now, your doctor may prescribe some medication for it. There is no better prescription than proper nutrition and resistance training when it comes to osteoporosis. Okay? All right. So someone just made a comment since I brought that one up. Says, and I don't know who you are. You were probably in our Facebook group. So whenever it doesn't give me the name, that means that you're in one of our groups, and the groups are hidden. But if you want me to know your name and you're in a group and you catch it, like in our Facebook group, for instance, then just at the end of your statement or your question, just do a dash and then put your first name. Okay. But so whoever you are, thank you for posting. She says, or he says, that's what I want to do. It's been 4 months that I was diagnosed with diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol. I want to change that. If you want to change that, what are you waiting on? I mean, if you listen or watch my post, we're reversing type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, getting people off statins. I mean, not just one person, but a lot of people. So I think that's Marcella. If that's you, Marcella, send us an email, contact Lori, and let's get you going. Let's get you going. Okay, I'm going to go to another one. This is Gary Lynn. Now, Gary Lynn, I'm just going to tell you the story about Gary Lynn because this is a good one. Gary Lynn is a woman I met in 2008. I opened up my clinic in Ventura in 2009, January 1st. Okay, that's 14 years ago. So over 14 years ago, I was sitting in a coffee shop. She says it was Starbucks. I think it was Coffee Bean. But regardless, I was sitting with my assistant. She was sitting by herself. We ended up saying hi to each other, and then we ended up getting into a really fun conversation. Right around that time, I think I was still fairly new to Facebook. She was on Facebook, so we connected on Facebook. She wasn't even living in the area. And thank goodness for Facebook. So she's on Facebook, and I don't talk to Gary Lynn for 14 years. But we see each other on Facebook. I'll see a post here and there about her. I always thought she was really intelligent and smart. She was really into nutrition and fitness at the time. She didn't need nobody's help at all. I mean, she had it going on. She, like, not only was she is she a professional when it comes to business, she's also like a dancer, and she's just really into health and fitness. Well, years go by, and about a year ago, Gary Lynn reached out to me, and she says, hey, and she looks good. So, but a lot of you ladies and men out there that have like less than 20 pounds you want to drop, but it's a struggle, you want to hear this. So Lynn, she reaches out to me. We have a great conversation on Facebook. I said, let's talk, because she wanted to learn about Diet for Your Life. She's been seeing these posts for all these years. So we get on the phone. She says, okay, I'm 145 pounds. Is it possible a woman over 40 to get down to 125? That's when I was at my best. That's when I was rocking. But I like wine, Robert. I travel a lot. I like to enjoy life. Is it possible? And I said, absolutely, it is possible. And it's going to be pretty simple. And you will have your wine. We will make sure that's part of the deal. Well, Gary Lynn is definitely diligent as well. So I'm only as good as a coach, and the methodology is only as effective as the horse we ride in on. So Gary Lynn was that horse. She's that person. She did the work. And I can tell you right now, she got down to 125. And she traveled, and she has her drinks here and there, and she's done well. And because of Gary Lynn, I bet I've gotten 10, maybe 12 clients because of her. Seriously, it was like a domino effect. You are someone who looks good, look better, and you don't have to give up like the foods that you like. Man, my phone has not stopped ringing because I could go on, and I'll share more about that. But one of my clients, because of Gary Lynn, actually a few of my clients because of Gary Lynn, but 100% Heather, and I hope you hear this, Heather. Heather is she's just awesome. Not only did she lose over 40 pounds and go from 163 to 123, she is just a great representation of the Diet Free Life methodology. So big shout out to you. All right, any other questions? Bring them on. I'm going to share just a few more stories, and I'll give some tips. I think the takeaway with Gary Lynn would be that you can still have your wine and drink it too and get to where you most want to be as far as your weight. Okay? Another one of my clients, Alice. Alice is awesome. I was talking to her the other day, and she didn't have a lot of weight to lose, but she had some things she wanted to improve. She wanted to feel better. She wanted her waist to get smaller. She wanted to improve her overall health. She had about 10 pounds. And the other day when I was talking to her, she says, Robert, I'm waking up with no joint pain. So she was having some joint pain. She's also fitting into that size 6 petite. And in her words, she said, I feel like I have reversed the clock. And I was like, wow. And she's 73 years of age. Okay. So Linda, I think, is around 64. Gary Lynn's 45. Alice, 73. Brett is like 53, 54. Brett, I may have made you younger. I don't know. I know we're close in age. Yeah. So it works for all ages. Okay. 2 more, and then I'll be done with stories. And then if you have questions, I'll answer. Okay. Because there's a lot. I mean, we have hundreds of testimonials, like hundreds. A lot of testimonials. So I just randomly grabbed a few people and some people I talked to this morning. Melissa B, who I love talking to, we end up, when we have our coach calls, it can go for a long time. So Melissa B just did the Detox Drop. I encouraged her to do it, and she hit a number. She broke the stall, and I was so excited for her to hear that. So that was really good to hear. But Melissa, when we were talking in our coach call, she says, Robert, I went in, I hadn't seen my doctor in a while. I think it was her endocrinologist. And her doctor, was like, whoa, last time you're down like 40, 45 pounds since I saw you last. She goes, yeah. And I'm off my medication as far as I'm no longer taking statins. I'm no longer taking cholesterol. And she lowered her body fat by 10%. She took 8 inches off her waist, and 40 pounds is gone. And she is 100% keeping the weight off and not feeling like she ain't missing nothing. She's eating all types of foods. She loves her fruits. She loves her carbs that way. And, she likes her vegetables. For some people, they don't like vegetables. Again, it's all based on the individual. And she's someone who's done a lot of different diets in her life. A lot of them. And she'll never lose this. And like she tells me, she goes, you're my coach. As long as I'm walking and breathing and you keep me as a client, then we're going to have our weekly or bi-weekly calls. I'm like, amen. Let's keep it going. Okay. Any other questions, you guys, about anything? Because I did a post on Facebook today, and I wasn't doing it to be mean. I was sharing it. It was Sharon Osbourne. And I've talked about Sharon Osbourne, the fact that she had taken Ozempic, the drug, one of those weight loss drugs. And I've always thought Sharon, no matter where her weight was I think she's a very nice person. She comes across with a calmness. She seems really funny. and I find her to be a beautiful woman inside and out. And I know that we can't all look youthful forever, but if you look at photos before she started taking Ozempic, and now after she's lost 30 or 40 pounds using this drug, you can see that she looks way more frail. It's not it's like a person who loses weight because they had to go to chemo. It doesn't look good. And some people call it Ozempic face. Well, not just some people, a lot of people, especially in that term or that phrase came from dermatologists that were seeing people regularly, and they started to all have the same kind of look in their face. And the dermatologists were like, "Are you taking that drug Ozempic?" And then it became Ozempic face. The reason for this, you guys, when you see someone who loses a lot of weight, but they don't look as healthy, is because they have lost the wrong kind of weight. See, when you lose weight, that losing weight on the scale does not mean that you lost fat weight. When you lose weight on the scale, it just means you've lost weight. However, when you are taking this drug Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and the list goes on, the majority of your weight loss, we know this through studies, they are tracking it, it's clear. You can't argue this. This is the real deal. The majority of the weight that you lose is going to come from water, bone, and skeletal muscle, your muscle. And as you mature in life, the last thing you want to lose is your muscle and your bone density. But if it's all about just losing weight, then you're probably going to lose the wrong weight unless you're working with someone who is helping you monitor and go through the process to lose the right type of weight. Okay? The right type of weight. And that's getting rid of excess body fat. And I would be willing to bet everything, if I was a betting person, that the large majority of Sharon Osbourne's weight loss is the result of losing primarily bone, muscle, and water. I would put everything on that. Everything. Okay? So, last testimonial. If there's questions, go ahead and share them. And I'm going to see if I can give some tips here based on my client, Jane. Jane, 74. I think Jane may be 75 now. But at 72 or 73, Jane decided that she wanted to become a client. Now, Jane was aware of me from infomercials and things I've done in the past. And she saw that I was putting it out there saying, hey, I'm looking for clients. Hey, anybody over 40 want to lose weight? Anybody over 60 want to lose weight? So, like Marcella, she reached out. And when she reached out, she was like, okay, help me out. How does this work? So I put her into one of my discounted programs. And when I say discounted, that just means you pay a little less. Everything's the same, whether you're some superstar celebrity, some pro athlete, or you're in a discount program, everybody gets the exact same thing. You just pay less. And when I have slots available, I will put people in those programs. That's why you reach out to Lori and you say, hey, Lori, any of those discounted programs available? Okay. Well, Jane was 200 pounds and she was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and she was taking blood pressure medication. Well, today she's no longer a type 2 diabetic. She's no longer taking blood pressure medication and she weighs 130 pounds. That's 70 pounds that she lost over the age of 70. See, a lot of times when people mature, they think losing weight, well, it ain't going to happen. I couldn't lose it before. I'm not willing to make myself sick, blah, blah, blah. 70 years old, losing 70 pounds and eating regular, everyday food, eating out, eating in hotels, because Jane would be traveling with her grandkids and they're like at Disney World and they're at this thing and they're traveling here. And you got to eat where you got to eat. So she has to learn how to eat at a fast food establishment, at a casual dining establishment, eat if I'm in the hotel, you're nibbling here, nibbling there. And I am so proud of Jane because she took the bull by the horns and she went for it. She was very consistent with our coach calls. And you know what? She was awesome and is awesome. So big kudos to Jane. 70 pounds, that's a lot of weight. And like with Jane and Linda, anyone who loses weight and you're female, you want to make sure that you're eating in a way and your activity is helping to support you from getting osteoporosis. That means you want to keep your skeletal muscle and you want to keep your bone density and you want to stay hydrated. And when you do lose weight, you want the weight to be coming from fat and not from bone, muscle, and water. You do the best you can to minimize that. And there you have it. So I shared a whole bunch of tips just in these people's stories. So whether it's losing 20 pounds or you want to lose over 200 pounds, the methodology meets you where you are. You start from where you are, and all you got to do is eat and learn. And one of our goals when we're coaching people, and this is with me or any of our coaches, is that every week you're making maybe a little tweak to what you're doing, because you got to tweak even when everything's going great. If you hit a stall, you got to make a little tweak or a little change. You got to tweak something. So you make small tweaks, right? So you don't have to overhaul your lifestyle. You don't got to stop eating carbs. You don't got to totally avoid bread. And you make small little tweaks because we're able to do that and customize it for you. And then you learn something new about nutrition, or we reinforce what you've already learned. And that has a person feel empowered. And so for those of you who are my clients, that's why you don't want to miss a coach call. Don't miss a coach call. Because yes, you can do it on your own. Yes, you can go long periods of time. That's fine. But make sure you're learning something, because learning is empowering. And when it's empowering, it helps with behavioral shifts so that you cement the behavior in a way where it does feel like a lifestyle. A lifestyle. Okay. So someone just made a comment. They said, I want to learn because I want to help someone who is over 300, I'm assuming pounds. That's great. Because the big difference, because I'm always looking at, like, we're working on changing the website and we're making some changes to our literature. And the thing that I keep coming back to and I keep hearing from my clients, and those of you, even when you do our 8-week challenge, the thing that I keep hearing is how you like to learn. People like to learn about nutrition because there's so much information out there. And that's something that we've always done. Whether it was my very first book, whether it was the infomercial I did, the second infomercial I did, it's all about whatever the program is, you learning. And learning, just empowers you. And it's not just knowing, right? Because a lot of people have the humility and they're willing to ask for help and to be helped. Sometimes people learn a lot and know a lot, but their ego gets in the way and they're not willing to ask for help. So sometimes there's a lot of people walking around with a ton of knowledge, but yet they're not getting results. They're not making progress because they know they're not looking to reach out for help, and help not in a weak way, in a strong way, right? Is being wise and staying humble so you can receive. There you go. That's it. All right, you guys, I'm Robert Ferguson. Enjoy your weekend. I definitely will be coming live at one point on Saturday and Sunday. My goal is to go live at least every day and then to upload content and information every day. And when I say upload, where will it always be? It'll be at our YouTube channel, which is youtubechannel.com/Diet Free Life, or just Google or search on YouTube Diet Free Life, Robert Ferguson, and you will definitely find me. All right. So I'm Robert Ferguson. Until the next one,